use the time to make even more memories.
Yeah, it is. Life's too short. It's too precious, too short, and we have to just.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That leads us nicely just into our last speaker. Our last speaker is a lady who I've connected with via on LinkedIn. It's a lady called Dr Amanda Foo-Ryland. Amanda is an international speaker, author, and coach, and holds a doctorate in clinical hypnosis. And in fact, a special welcome to Amanda as she is joining us from New Zealand, and it is an ungodly hour over there. And due to her passion, such as her passion for the platform and sharing her knowledge, she is up halfway through the night to talk to us. So thank you very, very much, and I'd love to welcome you now to share your wisdom.
Gary, thank you so much. It's wonderful to be hanging out in this space with you, even though it is around about 4 a.m. in the morning here. It's just a delight. So what I'd like to share with you is when we all found ourselves in this situation, we're very fortunate in that Your Life Live It, which is the company I founded about 12 years ago, has 18 coaches worldwide. What we all did was reached out to our communities and asked what was it that they needed. The top need was, how can I cope with anxiety? And it's coming from a place of, I don't normally feel anxious, but yet I'm finding myself feel very anxious. So what we've created, and I just want to share this with you now, because if you know anybody that's a frontline health worker or in hospitality, we've created 2 programs specifically for those people on the front line as health workers and in hospitality, which is going to be quite hard hit, particularly here in New Zealand. The first thing I'd like you to do, just to kind of grasp the concept of, it's what Cleona mentioned earlier, the subconscious mind, is to know that when anxiety runs, it runs unconsciously, it runs automatically. And it feels as though it's being done to us. And yet what I'd like to share with you in the next 9 minutes is how to outthink that, because this is the top thing that everyone's asked for. So just play with me for a second. If you've got a cup of coffee, pop it down for safety and just fold your arms. Just nice and easily fold your arms how you fold your arms. Yeah, nice and easy. Now unfold them and fold them the opposite way around. Little bit trickier, right? And the reason it's trickier is because the first time I asked you to fold your arms, that's how your unconscious mind or your subconscious mind has a program for you folding your arms. When I ask you to do it the opposite way around, it's kind of, oh, now I've got to get conscious to think about where to fold my arms. That's an example of how your unconscious mind or subconscious mind runs anxiety. Now, let's imagine, if you will, that behind you is a 2-meter long plank of wood, and it's around 40 centimeters in width, and it's a nice, strong, thick plank of wood. And I want you to imagine that I'm going to ask you to take your shoes and socks off and just walk along that plank of wood, turn around and then walk back again, because it's just behind you on the carpet. Super easy, right? Now imagine that we've taken that plank of wood and we've suspended it from the 12th story of a high-rise building out of the window, and I'm asking you to do the same task. I can see by your faces, all of a sudden it's like, there's no way I'm doing that, Amanda. You're crazy. Now, it's the same plank of wood, it's the same strength, it's the same skill set that's required, and you were able to do it when it was on the carpet. The only difference is the environment's changed. And that's what's happening with COVID. The environment has changed and there's an escalation in the anxiety. And when I asked you to imagine walking on that plank of wood, you're imagining what could go wrong. And this is what anxiety is. It's an emotion of the future. It's impossible to get anxious about something that's had resolutions in the past. So what we're finding people are telling us is, I'm going into my future, Amanda, I'm seeing it go wrong, and that's created anxiety in the system. So this is how you outthink it. I think this is going to be really useful, and it's super, super simple. It's the same strategy that the neurology is using to create anxiety. What the person's doing is seeing a movie through their own eyes, they're hearing an audio track, and then they've got self-talk inside like, oh my God, the beam's too high, you know, it's not going to support me. What happens if I fall off? Just to put it onto that plank of wood platform for you. So all we're going to do is exactly the same strategy, but see everything going the way you want it. So you're going to run a movie of what do you want to see to know that it's been successful? What do you need to hear to know it's been successful? And what's your internal dialogue? What's your self-talk? Because that's really powerful. As we learnt from Cleona with our name that internal dialogue, but let's make the internal dialogue a narration of positivity. The key is that all drives how you feel about the situation. And the reality is it's not happened yet, because anxiety is an emotion of the future. So why don't we rehearse it the way we want to see it? Now, let me give you a personal example of that. In 2014, just a random health check, it transpired that I had a tumour the size of a golf ball on my left kidney. So I had CT scans and then I had to fly to see a consultant, but there was a 12-day delay. So I had an option. I could either go down the anxiety path and become a cancer victim and see it all go wrong, and imagine the consultant saying to me, you know, oh Amanda, it's terrible news, or I could choose to outthink anxiety and create the movie the way I wanted to see it. Now, was that going to change the outcome? Not necessarily. In 12 days, not necessarily. However, what it did do was it gave my nervous system, my parasympathetic nervous system, the opportunity to just relax. I was sleeping better, I was eating better, I was much more resourceful, much more productive. I got myself fit. In those 12 days, I'm a runner anyway, but I kind of amped it up and thought, you know, it's a great opportunity to use this time to be productive. And the only way I was able to do that was because I ran a movie of what I'm going to see, what I'm going to hear being said to me, my internal dialogue, and that's going to make me feel far more relaxed. Now, the reality is that when I went 12 days later, the consultant said to me, I'm really sorry to have to tell you that you've got cancer in your left kidney and we need to treat it. We need to take the kidney out as soon as possible. It's not necessarily, this is the important thing, it's not necessarily to change the outcome. It's the time period between where we are all now in COVID and when the new normal starts. It's making sure that each and every day we've got a more resourceful self, a more relaxed self, a higher boost of immune system, and allowing what runs habitually to be tweaked by the movie that we choose to see. So a few people have mentioned Dr. Bruce Lipton. Biology of Belief is his book, where he talks about 95% of our daily behaviours run automatically. And so all of us have a choice. We can either let anxiety swamp us and find ourselves in this anxious state, which renders us really unresourceful. It becomes a little bit like the rabbit in the headlights. Or we can say, you know what, stop. I've got a choice. I'm going to create the movie I want to see. What am I going to see externally? What am I going to hear externally? What's my self-internal dialogue going to be? And that will all create a feeling that you get to choose what that is. So guys, that's just a really quick tip. Know that we've only got 10 minutes now, but if that's resounded with you and you want me to personally walk you through the timeline therapy anxiety process, which is what I've just shared with you, we've created a 25-minute online free course. All you need to do is connect with me and I'll hook you up with that. And it's literally just video driven and I take you through that. Plus the fact, please remember, we've got frontline health workers support. Every single day our 18 coaches are dipping into a closed group to support international health workers. And we have just created a 6-week modular for the hospitality industry. It normally retails at $1,000 and we are giving it away for free to anybody that's in that industry. So thank you so much for listening. Gary, thank you for having me. And guys, I always like to say, remember, it's your life, live it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed listening to everybody. And I'm sure and I hope that everybody on this meeting and on this call will have had some tools, techniques, skills, insights, perspectives, advice to take away off this call and to implement and really get through this here like we are and we will. And thank you all so much, genuinely. There's loads of people on this call that I know and I've spoke to in various social media platforms. Too many to thank, but thank you all so much, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the speakers, the two Cleonas, Katrina and Dr Amanda. Without you guys, this doesn't happen. So thank you. You've made such a valuable contribution, and I am very, very, very grateful. TED Circles will be back this time next week. We are tweaking the theme as we speak. There's some really cool speakers to come on as well. And I hope you've all enjoyed the Spice Girls here today. And I'll have to even this up with an all-meal one, or I'll get some negativity. But listen, thank you all so much. Feel free to connect with one another. That's the beauty of all this here. If you have good value from anybody in particular and you want to reach out to any of our speakers, hit them up on their social media platforms. They are all on them. You'll find them if you can't find them, connect with me and I will do the introduction. They're all amazing people with some real fantastic value to add, and which was obviously demonstrated today. So thank you all so much, and it is over and out from me. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.